I'm
Morning.
never hungry in the morning. I never wake up hungry. I don't know. There you go. Ron's having his fruit at least. I have a banana, and that's plenty for me early in the morning.
So, John, how many of our club folks were at the social last week?
You know, I was trying to figure that out. I would get not many.
Yeah.
Not as many as I would like to have seen. And there probably were only 5 or 6, 5.
Yeah.
Was it good? Was it
About? I mean, that
was very
sounds
good.
about right. Right. For
Yeah.
it's like it's a social, but really it's more the other club.
That's right.
I can never. I mean, it's an evening. You're gonna, dinner thing. Like yeah, it just doesn't work for me.
I like it. You go over at 5 or 5:30 and either have a beer and go home. Get to talk to a few people. It was fun.
This was the Jamaican thing, though, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Mm.
Yes.
Was the food good?
Food was great. Yeah. Some people thought it was a little too spicy. I didn't because I happen to like spicy food.
Yeah.
But,
I don't. I can't eat spices.
Yeah.
I was a little hesitant about a gathering.
It was. I didn't think it was spicy, but
Yeah.
I did hear from other people they thought it was. They had different. You could order different things.
Yeah.
Shrimp, chicken.
Speaking of good foods, if any of you are like Indian, there's a woman in town who does like full-on Indian meals for pickup at her house.
Wow.
It's really good.
Is she advertising?
It's it comes up a bunch in the Front Porch Forum.
Uh-huh.
Are you on Front Porch Forum?
No.
Ooh, that's something that everyone should do too.
Yeah.
Just look it up. Front Porch Forum. You get like a little email. Like it's I don't know. Like people can make announcements or lost and found or
Right. Yeah. Is it
things for sale or free stuff and what?
Is it Front Porch Forum but with Bennington? Does it?
It's just go to the Front Porch Forum website and then you can narrow down to your town.
Okay, thank you.
Like political announcements or garage sales, and it's all positive stuff.
Sure.
Unlike, some kind of
the Facebook Bennington scanner page.
What?
The Facebook Bennington scanner page, which can be quite interesting.
As others, but the woman, the Indian thing, I think it's called The Taste of India. I believe that she has a website. Sorry, I'm going way off base here, but I just remembered, and I'd love for more people to know about her stuff. You have to think about it in advance. You have to order, a couple days in advance. But
right, yeah.
Let's see, The Taste of India.
But nowadays, pickup food is preferenced by many people.
Yeah.
Jenica, is your son going back to school?
His school, he goes to Highland Hall, so they are actually opening for in person. There's only 25 kids in the school.
Mm-hmm.
And they're building a outdoor pavilion.
Yeah. Ron, I think, was talking about it outside. Is that the same school his wife is the teacher?
Who?
Does he go to the school that Ron's wife is the headmaster?
No, she's at Southshire.
Oh, okay. Sorry, they're building outside.
They're doing outside stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're redoing the barn. Where's your son going?
Highland Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice that these, smaller schools have flexibility.
Where is Highland Hall?
It's on 7A on your way if you're going into Shaftesbury. If you're heading north on 7A, you pass
Yeah, I know where.
the preschool,
Right.
and it's up there on the left. They have a really great outdoor area.
Oh, it must be in the back.
Was that part of the
Yeah,
old?
it used to be Ben Berry or something like that. It used to be a clothing store.
Oh yeah, I remember Benbury back in the day.
Yeah.
Wasn't Jennifer? Was that Prospect or was that the old Prospect school that moved over to there?
No, Prospects across from the Head Start,
Yeah.
or what is the old or is the new Head Start
Is it still?
by
Go ahead.
McCullough Park?
Yeah. Is it still operating?
It's Head Start. It's not Prospect.
Okay.
Yeah. UCS bought it up by the Park McCullough.
Right. Yeah, that's where my kids went to
Yeah.
grammar school.
Prospect, yeah.
Yeah. 112 years ago.
It was a very successful alternative school for a long time.
Yeah. It was good. Jessica was her name. Jessica.
Yes, it was. Yeah, the head teacher was Jessica. Mm-hmm. I think she went on to start this other school.
Jessica Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still involved in Highland Hall.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I
Not
was
full
thinking.
time, but she's still involved. It's almost a quarter of. Should we get?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were sort of hoping that Peter would come on. I haven't seen him yet.
I think it would be helpful, and I don't know if this is a gym job or a TR job, but I think it would be helpful to do the announcement of
The switch over.
and for the week, like who the speaker is, and if it's in person or online, like on Sunday, or even just like a rolling kind of, here's what's happening for the next 2 or 3 weeks every Sunday.
I thought I got a hard copy, but it would be good online, a little closer to the date that you're going to have the Zoom.
Yep, I can talk to TR. The invites, I was sending out the invites for the Zooms early, and everybody, the feedback that I got was everybody was losing them, so that's why I only put them out the night before. They were getting buried in their email.
Maybe night before is too late, but I would think Sunday, that's less than 2 days away. So.
All right, I'll do them Sundays.
Just an FYI, I just came off of my presidency, and what I would do is make it up Sunday night. Monday morning, I would send the agenda, and then Monday evening, I would send the Zoom. Invariably, I always got people saying, can you send me the invite again? Because they lost it, but still. But normally Monday nights are pretty good.
Well, one of the things I'm finding is I probably get 10 to 12 political ads a day on my email account. And sometimes the idea that yours, Jim, comes out early, which it's good. I have to scroll through multiple emails before I actually find my emails now.
Kathy, sounds like you may need to unsubscribe a little bit. Like, go in there and.
Well, I do. I delete everything. I suppose you give money to a political party, and then you hear from them, and then you give a little more money, and then you hear from them, and then these are political times.
There's something called unroll.com, and
Yeah.
and then that way you can just click on all of them at the same time, the ones you don't want, as opposed to going through each one.
Yeah. What's it called?
Unroll. I think it's unroll.com. Yeah, unroll.com. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I gotta do that. Thank you. It's very tedious.
Yes.
No, I do like,
If I give money, then they'll, it'll be ongoing and I have to unroll all the time.
Right.
even if we do it Sunday, Jim, it's nice Monday night to do it. If that can be done both, that would be great.
Yep, I can do that.
Well, I guess Peter's not going to come, so we can start in. I'm interested to find out.
Maybe you said that last time, John.
Yeah. I don't think anybody else is coming. Do you, Jim?
They'd probably be in by now.
Yeah, I would think so. For some reason, the Zoom is not as attractive as going up to the museum.
TR got held up at work. He had some issues this morning, so he's out.
Okay. I haven't heard from anybody. Has anybody else heard from anybody else?
No. I wonder if sometimes people don't say whether they're coming or not on Zoom. Well, they didn't used to say it when it was a regular meeting either, I guess.
Yeah, Mike or the two Mikes, Peter, they usually are here. But not this morning. In any case, Angel, it's great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
And you're in what group?
I'm with the Deerfield Valley Club. So nobody ever knows what that is. And if I say Mount Snow, then everybody knows where it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Because our club's comprised of 5 different towns, all nearby, but that's why they call it the Deerfield Valley.
How many do you have in your club?
Well, right now we've got 41. We're down from 50. We are having, we've had several members now move down to North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida. So in the summer, we have a lot of snowbirds. So that's when our club gets quite large because they all come back for the summer. This year, obviously, it's been different, but so we're in the process, as most clubs, I think, always have a membership issue. But right now, our town, after COVID, has just been inundated with people buying homes, sight unseen. Yeah. Everybody's fleeing the cities. We've got just a really large enrollment in our local schools. So we're going to I've initiated a welcome wagon program because we think that, for example, the last 2 members that we just recently got were new residents here. So I think we're going to kind of really focus on that aspect. You know, they move here, they're used to volunteering, they want to do something for the community. So that's I think the direction we're going to go.
Oh,
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, our new member has just moved here too, John.
Yes. And there are others that are just coming in. I just heard yesterday from my banker that a guy in Weston bought a house 4 years ago for $345,000, and he put it on the market and got it on a bidding war out of New York and sold it for $900,000.
Oh, that's a happy man.
What?
Yeah, and that's what people are doing up here. That people are just.
He said he put it on the market for $600,000. He thought he was going to just make money on it, and they bid it all the way up to $900,000 and bought it. Sight unseen.
That's insane.
Wow. That's almost an apocalypse of fleeing the city. What in the world will happen in the cities? the high rises, Lordy Lord.
Well, the
My-
problem too is that in our, you guys are larger, but in our rural communities, our resources are being taxed because as it is already we have volunteer fire departments, volunteer rescue, and all of that is an issue. So internet is a big issue. We have terrible internet, and a lot of these people are coming up and working, virtually. So
They will start demanding some connections, won't they?
right. But as far as membership, they're looking, because they don't know people, they're looking to find a group that they can connect with and
Wow.
make friends with.
What is going to happen to the city? I mean, my daughter had a block of 5 offices she was renting, 5 individual, well, actually 6. She's one of them. And not one of them have gone to renewal. All 5 of them are leaving, and all psychologists and out of the city. All 5 of them.
Wow.
So I don't know what that means in a city so large as 8 million people, but it certainly is an indication that level of income and education is just leaving the city.
Right.
It's apocalypse. That's it's a pretty tough word, but I think something is changing because of all this.
Yeah, and it changed in 5 months because older folks were moving to the city because they wanted all of the arts. And that would be the most unhealthy place for older people to downsize, move to the city. Now it's actually the reverse. All within about 5 months. A little
Right.
virus, a little terrible virus.
So what is how else I like your idea, Angel, and I think we should think of that as getting a welcome wagon of some sort to. I think there's even on Monument Avenue, there's 3 or 4 people that have bought homes that are coming up from, in this case, some from Philadelphia, not necessarily New York City, but out of the city. And
Right. So what I did was I went to several of the businesses in town and just asked them what they would like to see in I bought a lot of little bags with you can get Rotary stickers, from Russell Hampton, whatever. And so some gave coupons for discounts, some gave actual little samples of or whatever, something Vermonty. And then I wrote up a letter welcoming them to the community. And we also, the maps that all the towns have, the little maps of where everything is. And the Mount Snow's trail maps, hiking maps, things like that, just things that people would want to know. And then I've asked we've got some realtors who are members. So I said, that's one good resource to find out who's coming to town, the town office, but mainly word of mouth. Who's moved in next to you. We had the first one that I delivered was our neighbor who they'd had a second home here for a long time and they'd been here since March. And then suddenly I noticed that their license plate was now Vermont. So they became residents, and those were the first people that I dropped off the bag to. So
Wow, it's a very wonderful idea.
I think it's a great idea.
And then, you want to be sure you have, I don't know if you have a Rotary brochure and card and all that, but you definitely want to put all that in when you meet. And now it's pretty easy. It's easier actually to invite people to a meeting because while everybody is tired of Zoom, it's also a good way to get people in who normally wouldn't maybe want to meet at 7:30 in the morning at your, in person. So.
Well, I think I agree with you about the Zoom. I think one of the things we should do with Zoom is we should allow people the rights to get out of Zoom In other words, if you come in, you come for an hour, maybe you don't have to stay the whole time, so that we get more people involved. Some people get, have other things going on, and they don't want to sit behind a screen for an hour and a half.
It might be it's very interesting that Angel is saying this, because it might be, as we talked a little bit, a time to rethink, even when this is over, a combination of Zoom and morning breakfast. That might be a really nice offering every
Sure.
other or once a month.
Good idea.
Yeah, because some people don't come to the breakfast on site more than once a month. So that might be, although we're not catching people, all of our members on Zoom, but maybe they're the ones that would come to the breakfast site.
And I think most clubs, after this whole Zoom thing, I think most clubs are going to do some sort of hybrid model.
Like schools.
Because you can also get speakers then from any part of the country, really.
Yeah.
So I think there's good and bad to it, but it does have its merits.
Have you done that? Have you had speakers from other places?
Not yet. Well, yeah, actually, we did have somebody who was down in Florida, and then we've had the two general managers of Mount Snow and Haystack. We have a private ski area that's been in question for quite a while. So one of them was out of town, and they were both able to join us. But if you go to Club Runner, Rotary actually has a list of speakers that you can bring in. It's quite interesting people, so you might consider that as well.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
And of
Ron
course,
mentioned something like that.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would be great.
Oh, Bill, I think actually it might have been both of you, Bill.
But it is good even for local people,
Yeah.
Right. Because I think we haven't started in-person meetings yet. I think people are still a little hesitant. But when we do, we're going to offer in-person, but also have it on Zoom for whoever wants to join. I don't know how they're going to quite do that, but that's the plan. So that even if you aren't there in person, you can still see the meeting.
It's difficult for us to do it at the museum because outdoors there's the ambiance of the noise of outdoors, and it is not as easy as having it inside a space. That I'm talking about Zoom.
Right. I think once winter comes, you might, that might be more of an option, but
yeah.
Because pretty soon it's going to get chilly.
Well, it's hard to believe that we're actually going to have some cool weather. So from the heat we've been having, I just read the heat wave is going to get worse in the next 5 years. So I find it unbelievable that we have this air conditioning in this old house here, and which we didn't have at all for 20 years.
Right. So do you have a specific agenda, or do you just want to kind of tell me what types of, what types of fundraisers you have, what kind of things you do?
Well, we normally have a pancake breakfast in the winter, March, April, May, and depending on both weather and scheduling of other places. And we also, although we haven't done it in the last 2 years, we have a hole-in-one project that has been successful in the past to raising money. We did have a wine tasting that we had anticipated doing. We still would like to do it this spring. We got into a little bit of a problem because of harvesting. We couldn't get the people to speak the way we wanted to because we planned it for our harvesting time, and then we realized they weren't going to come. So we considered that for the spring. We also do cleanups. We have along the Route 9, you know Route 9, you've come across that many times, I'm sure.
Right.
And other individual projects that the town or
Bell ringing, we did the,
Yeah. and so we have done. So that's what we have done in the past, and then we use it mostly for scholarships. Not all scholarships, so we do a variety of other things as well, but mostly local. We don't do much outside of the greater Bennington area for donations.
We've been annually donating to the Pure Water of the World.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the one consistent international.
Shelter box. We did a shelter box donation.
Yeah.
There's disaster a few years
There
ago.
are other kind of random things like that, but
Right. I remember when we had done something, done a shelter box in the Pure Water, but then it kind of, since then we hadn't really done anything. But I think those shelter box people and Pure Water really made an effort to go to the clubs and
Yes. Yeah.
and really promote their,
Uh-huh.
and since then we haven't really had anything.
Also, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Want to say that so more recently we did make a nice size donation towards the water the
Splash pad.
splash pad in the center of town, which is not operational yet because of construction issues.
What is that? What is the splash pad?
It's like for kids water feature.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's just right downtown. But what was really great, I think about that, like our donation, because of our donation, that kind of sparked. Because how much did we give? It was a lot. It's like
15,000.
12, well, yeah, total of 15, 12,500 from us, and then we got 2,500 from the district.
From the district, yeah. So because of that large donation, they were able to get, it qualified them to get other donations. So the money that kind of helped to feed the money.
Nice. And is there going to be something promoting your club? Be sure you have, something that says
yeah. And we were in, with like the front page of the banner.
And there is a sign over there with our emblem on it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
We also book drives. We did some book drives, and we donated to pediatricians kind of middle school Body Yourselves. There was 2 donations to 2 pediatricians, one who especially requested the books again. They're very informational books. And there was a donation to SRS, Children's Services, of specifically lap books for mothers who are in custody issues with their children. There were very inappropriate books that they were having not a very successful time with their kids reading, the Disney books. So 3 baskets of those lap books went there.
Great. Okay.
Small. Those are small projects, and on the book there is the Rotary sticker.
Okay, good. Yeah, you've always got to be sure that Rotary, whatever you do, you either got stickers, you've got signs, you've got something that people know. Because as you know, you always still get people who, what is Rotary? What is that symbol? What does that mean?
We have our essential worker signs too, John. Remember? I think this.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
I still have mine outside my.
Seems like a long time ago that was even a discussion.
I'm sure that it's probably illegal. You're not supposed to put signs out for more than, 2 weeks or something. And, but
I'm sure they're waiving all those rules.
Yeah. That rule is, because it's not an advertisement. It's just, a thank you type thing. So.
Right. And how do you determine which scholarships you give to? Do you have
Yes.
applications and?
Ron, you could speak to that more than,
Yeah, it's based on merit. It's whether or not they're active in volunteerism and those kinds of things, and how well they're performing in school. And we don't really go for the need-based stuff because we don't want to get into the money financial stuff. So we just have people apply, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's great.
Great, good. So how much do you think you normally give out in scholarships per year? And
Well,
are they
we're down to
are
one.
they variable? I mean, do you have, for example, you can apply for $1,000 scholarship every year or a 500, or is it just variable?
Well, we were doing 4 for 4 years, but now we're down to one single grant because the finances didn't play out. We're having a hard time raising money,
Mhm.
so we backed off on a lot of that kind of stuff.
Right.
But
And I think it's difficult, especially now, to ask people for money. You know, that's an issue that all clubs are having as well. You have to come up with some
yeah.
creative ways.
So what do you suggest? Like just trying to promote the club, or should we do fundraising?
Well, you know, all of our fundraising events had to be canceled for the summer. And that's when we're the most active. So we didn't know really what to do. And then we had something that the town used to do called the garden tour. And
Nice.
it just happened to be the perfect thing. We had a month, you know, once I brought it to the club, and we had a month to do this because it had already kind of been arranged in previous years. People offered up their gardens. At the time, though, they'd offered you'd have appetizers and drinks, and it was just a self-guided tour. You'd get a map, you'd go, you know, just go to each garden. And so we
Was
did
there
this,
a price
and
associated?
excuse me?
Did you have to
It was,
pay
yes.
for a ticket?
We pre-sold all the tickets. They sold out. We sold 250 tickets online
Nice.
at $25 a piece.
Okay.
So there was no overhead. The people just offered their gardens. We didn't do food or drink. We did the whole social distancing. You had to wear a mask. You had to sign in because at every garden so that we knew in case of contact tracing and all that.
Right.
But you know, you have to come up with creative ideas so you're not asking the same, because we always ask the same businesses for money, and we knew we couldn't do that. We had 4 big sponsors who gave because we had a brochure on, you know, that showed you where the gardens were, and they were able to advertise on the brochure. But we were able to make $7,000 with virtually no overhead, and it was a perfectly sunny day. And I also, another thing that you should do if you do have events, advertise them on the district website, because there are people in, you know, for example, here, you know, people might want to go to one of your events, or in Brattleboro, or, you know, the areas around you, so that the clubs know. And let's see, well, we are having a putt and pour. That's in September. So the putt and pour is, it's not because golf events take so long, they're usually pretty expensive. A putt and pour is just a putting tournament. And we're not going to do, we've had in the past a buffet dinner. And, you know, you go in, you get your drinks, your dinner, then we have an auction. This time it's just going to be the event, and then they'll give you a grab and go boxed dinner. But yes, it's hard. You've got to come up with some inventive ways to make money. you
Yeah.
know.
I did see your garden tour, even in the banner, and what's going on.
Mhm.
I think it was sold out.
It was, no, it
I
was,
got online. Yeah.
it was great because, people were looking for something to do
Yeah.
and something that was safe. And as I said, we had the perfect day. So that just lucked, we lucked out. It was really good. But, you'll just have to really ask members to come up with ideas. And that's what we did. We just said, come up with some ideas, because we can't do things the way we normally have. All our businesses in town, we're tourist based, and the stores are open now, and the restaurants are open for outside dining, but we're not going to ask the same people that we've always asked to be sponsors or to give us money. So
Angel, how did you sell the tickets online?
one of our members is very tech savvy, so she did it through Eventbrite.
Okay.
And Eventbrite is a great tool. They do take a percentage, though. Yeah, I think it was 3% of the sale, maybe 1%. But still, that way, it's better to try to sell tickets ahead of time, because that way, even if the weather had been bad, there were no refunds. So
Yeah, because we, as John mentioned, we've done a ball drop in the past. So we've brought that up, I think, last couple of meetings of that would be I think an option if we can find a way, to easily sell tickets, you're online, and where they could get signed like this is your number ball or whatever. Like we have the balls. We could, do like a live, like a
Yeah. Jenica,
Facebook Live. What?
I think there's a gambling related issue thing going on with the ball drop. I think you can't, yeah, because an event is you're selling access to something that's happening. If you're doing a ball drop, that's a gambling thing. We can get into heartache with that.
what is the ball drop?
It's you pick a ball and you get assigned a number, and then we choose a ball, essentially, whichever hits closest to the center.
Oh, okay.
Originally, we did it, Ron, we did it as an event by having the balloon and people being able to use the ride on the balloon, and it was an event.
Right.
And at the same time, we had a drop to finance it. It subsequently has changed to a certain degree because we had trouble with the winds and the balloon.
Right.
But if it has the balloon, it has that event effect, because they took people up in the balloon, and let them come back down, just short rides, and it was an event that people went to.
I think it's still a gambling, I think there's laws against it. Yeah. So
People have, so I wonder what's the line. Be interesting to look into this then, because we've been doing it for so long, and
Right.
I don't know when you did the balloon thing, but I don't I've been in the club since 2012. I don't remember a balloon that people could actually ride, like since the time I've been in the.
No,
So
that's true, but that's what it started out as.
and people do rap kind of stuff. Like
Is it the question, if you do it online, is that the issue? Or
is that the issue?
that's the issue.
the online part?
Oh, just selling it online.
Yeah.
Oh, darn it.
Yeah.
Well,
So, I mean, we just got to be careful there, because we don't want to bring wrath,
Oh yeah, of course.
I hadn't thought of it, but it sounds rational.
Yeah,
But
I
in,
mean,
but in the future, for an event that you plan, you know, it definitely is good to use Eventbrite or even Facebook. You can sign up for Facebook, have a donation page on your Facebook, and get people to buy or donate through them as well.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those like brown paper tickets and all those
Right,
kinds of things.
right.
And they're great. They're great. We just got to figure out what kind of event we want to put on
Mhm.
that's not going to put us in harm's way.
Right.
So,
I suppose, I wonder if we could ask the district as to whether that our ball drop would be a considered a gamble. I don't know. What do you think, Bill? You're more into that kind of thing.
Well, we looked at this a number of years ago, and I think we found that Vermont has a statute related to games of chance. And I believe nonprofit organizations can conduct so many of those a year. But beyond that, I'm just looking on my phone trying to search for that right now. And I don't have a quick answer for you, but I know there's a time limit. You know, that's how clubs have Monte Carlo nights and that sort of thing. I
right.
don't
The
know how
poker nights.
yeah, poker nights, all those things. So anyway, you know, I can look at it and tell you what the statute says pretty quickly here.
Good. And that would be helpful. Because probably if the way you're talking, it sounds like you could do it, you know, like once a year and it's not going to.
I think it's more than once a year. I don't know if it's twice or 4 times a year, John, but you know, there are a whole bunch of if you read the statute, it has a lot of detail in it. And I can't even give you the reference right now, but I can find it and I'll email it out.
That'd be great. That'd be great. But I think the golf thing, your point is well taken because you mentioned it before, Angel, that having a golf thing which is outside, people feel much more comfortable in doing something, whether it's putting or whether it's driving, you know, is an event that we can promote without scaring people.
Right. Right.
Because people, I think, especially like we do at the museum, that's why more people come to the museum than even come to Zoom, is that because it's outdoors. You know, I mean, they feel comfortable.
Right. Maybe some sort of a scavenger hunt or a, you know, something, you know, just have to ask the members to come up with pick their brains and come up with some ideas.
Well, I just think the golfing is a good thing only because we have so much of the equipment.
Right.
Yeah,
And,
but it's also,
Well,
I mean, the reason that we kind of stopped doing it is that it also is a lot of work,
mm,
and it requires getting the way that we did it anyway, required getting a lot of sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be worth kind of looking, you know, at that concept of fresh eyes and not really, you know, assuming that we would do it the way that we've done in the past.
Right. And the thing is, everybody,
Reasonable.
there are a lot of golf events
Yeah.
that, you know, every club seems to have a golf event. But that is one of the reasons that we did the putt and pour instead of a golf event, because that way people just, everybody started, it was a shotgun start and you just, you putt. You know, everybody takes, you know, on your team, you take turns putting and it goes quickly. But something different than not just a regular golf event, but maybe just think of something different that you could do. The problem with that is that you know, we will make some money, but we have to pay the golf course and the food, and so it's not quite as you know, for example, like the garden tour, we didn't have to pay out much. So you have to think of something that you're not going to have a lot of overhead with.
how much did you charge for the tickets?
$25. Mhm.
versus 130, for the full event. When the other golf events that it's a whole day thing, and the tickets are
Right.
more like you're selling tickets for more like 15, 120.
Right. And the putt and pour that's coming up, that's $85 per person. And, it's also there. Yes, while there are a lot of people that can well afford that, there are also a lot of people who right now just don't want to do that. So,
Mhm. Did you say 25 and then you said 85?
oh, 85 is for the upcoming putt and pour, the
Oh,
golf. Yeah.
oh,
No, it was 20.
85.
So, right.
The garden
Did
was.
you rent you rented a whole golf course for a period of time?
Haystack is just letting us use their course, and but we do have to pay them. I don't have the committee member that's in charge. I'm not sure of the specifics. We've always had it at Mount Snow, but now that Haystack is open again, they're choosing to have it there. And he really wants to promote the course, so we have to pay for the box dinners, and we have to pay a little to rent the course.
And what do? You rent the whole course. You have 18 holes.
Mhm.
It's a shotgun. How many people per hole?
So last year we had about 100 people, and there are 80. So there would be maybe 2 parties at each hole waiting to start, and putt, go to the next one, putt, go to the next one, and then we used. There were 2 people to a card, so that's the other issue. Because you wouldn't necessarily be with your spouse or with you might be with somebody else. So that they're working all that out as well. But I don't know what Bennington, what your golf course would charge you or what they'd let you do.
How long does it
But
usually take, Angel? Do you know?
a couple of hours.
Okay.
Mhm. So that was the other good thing. It was short.
Yeah, it's not an all-day event.
Right. Right.
Okay. And you got
Or you
100.
could, another thing you could also do, maybe just a hole-in-one competition. And then if you sell it as, maybe some specific holes, you could just try having some sort of hole-in-one competition. I don't know, just
We've
thinking
done
outside.
that, the hole-in-one, and
You
we've
have,
had.
oh, okay.
It's what, like Jenica said, the biggest problem we've had with the hole-in-one is that it takes quite a few people because we did it over a 3-day period,
Oh,
and we sold tickets. It was, and we made more money by the sponsors, to the unit, and we had a hole-in-one last time where we gave away a Subaru if you got the hole-in-one. And they were more than willing to do that because they can buy an insurance policy cheaply. They can, and that was their donation to a certain degree, that says that if he actually gets the hole-in-one, they don't lose a Subaru. The insurance company pays for the whole, the Subaru.
what about, so you're bringing up the Subaru. What about some sort of online raffle? That was brought up as well, because normally we had a silent auction. So all kinds of things set up, and people, they did the silent auction, but we didn't want to do that this time because we didn't want people inside. And somebody had mentioned an online auction. I don't know I don't think they have time to do that, but that's something else you could do. If you were able to get some good prizes and maybe advertise that, do some sort of online auction to get money.
I'm going to interject here. For all you people that know how to find statutes, Title 13, Chapter 51 section
I sent-
2143.
I sent a link to it in the group chat.
Mhm.
If you open up your group chat.
Yeah, well, in there, there's language about electronic, well, at least it applies to things like bingo. You can't communicate numbers electronically. I haven't read the whole statute, and you want to read that, and you want to see if there are any regulations under it. But I would say before we jump into that, we ought to take a close look at the statute and just see
Yeah.
what is.
There's actually something in here that says, and I don't know if I'm reading it correctly, but it's number 4 under, how do you do this? A, B, C, D. Is that okay? A, B, C, D, E. 1, 2. Yeah. It's under E, and then little E, big D, and then number 4. You can't offer a prize worth more than $400 in value for a single game of chance, except you can offer a prize. Yeah, that's kind of a confusing paragraph there.
Could I suggest we don't tie up the assistant district governor?
Yeah, I know.
If I do
There's
have a
some
suggestion,
section.
though, if you have a question, one of our members is John Gannon. He's our state representative. So, and he's a lawyer. And so anytime I have any questions, John, can you answer? Because he will find it immediately. So if you do have a specific question, you want to email it to me, I could forward it to him. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
But if, Bill, you could read that, and I assume, and figure that out.
I certainly can read it. I can also look for if there are any regulations under the statutes anywhere, and also if there are any case annotations. I've got the ability to do that. And that's the issue with legal interpretation. You can read the words, but you want to be sure you understand how those words have been interpreted, if they've been interpreted. One of the issues with Vermont law is we don't have a ton of case law on a lot of stuff, and there may not be any court cases that are relevant to this. There may be some regulations published somewhere that also apply to this. It's interesting. This is under the criminal statute. Criminal law, and it makes an exception for nonprofit organizations. So
It's funny.
you got a little reading when you start with this thing. You want to find out what's illegal and what the exceptions are for the nonprofits. And then be sure there's limits on frequency and prize money and whether you can pay people to conduct it. There's a whole bunch of things we have to read. I'll be happy to read them and tell you what I think.
That would
And
be
if you
great.
got a cite to somebody who's may have more background than I do, that's fine.
Yeah, it'd be
No,
good to know before we start planning anything.
Yeah, that's right.
Large gambling events online.
That's right. Especially if it's criminal, seeing
Under the criminal
show up at our back door. The other day they showed up at my back door. Somebody drove in my driveway trying to avoid the police, and ended up on our yard on our driveway. But the police saw him come in here, and so 2 cops followed him right up into our yard.
Speeding?
Yes, but they didn't have a license. I know, and so they had. So it was a big anyway.
Harboring fugitives.
That's right. That's right. I'm harboring fugitives. Is right. But it was a little bit disconcerting to have come charging right up the driveway. In any case, I don't want them coming up here right now. That wouldn't be fun. But if Bill would look at that, that'd be great. But the golf concept is not a problem. An event like that there we can do. The hole-in-one is probably the best for us. If we're going to do it next spring, which is what we've talked about in our meetings, we need to figure a way to get enough volunteers to make it work. Because without that, it becomes cumbersome. I have to figure out the volunteer concept, but I think the hole-in-one is probably the best for us if we're talking about golf, because we have all of the tools, we have all the equipment, we've done it before, and we have decided that this spring would be a good time to accomplish that. People are itching to get back out, in the spring and show off their
Hey,
their
John,
abilities.
I got to interrupt. I got to take off. I got a little bit of an emergency going on. So nice to meet you, Angel.
Nice
Maybe
meeting
we'll,
you.
reach
Nice
back
meeting
again
you.
at some point. All right.
Definitely.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Ron.
And actually, I do need to hop off as well, but if you would just do you take minutes or notes or whatever, just keep
Yes.
me in the loop
Okay.
with your progress and
Well,
any
thank you for
questions.
coming. Thank you for coming. We usually give people a coffee mug, but I can't
Oh.
quite hand that to you right now.
I'll get it at some point. I know where you live.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Angel. Thank you very much.
All right. It was nice meeting all
Bye.
of you.
Thanks,
Hi.
Angel.
Bye.
Bye, Angel.
Bye-bye.
I love your
Bye-bye.
name, Angel.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Well, we didn't do so well with population today.
But she was very informative, John.
She was. Oh my! I've made many notes. I think she
Yeah.
is very informative.
And I did try to go to that garden. It was a perfect event outside, and $25, and they were all sold out.
Yeah.
Regional Affordable Housing did that in Bennington and in the surrounding area a number of years ago, and it was
Yeah.
successful when they did it. A lot of it has to do with the people who organize it.
Mhm. And I know I was at somebody's garden recently, and it was just gorgeous. And somebody was going to do it this year as an event, and it was canceled. So
Well, a lot of events. But I think those events should be going on. Those outdoor events.
yeah, it was outside.
At first, being a couple of months ago, people were even afraid of anything like that, anything that another person attended. But I think people are less concerned with outdoor events. They're still just as concerned about, or I am, with a crowd or going to having a social event in a bar or something.
Well, University of North Carolina outside. You see
Yeah.
the pictures in the news?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Lots of kids.
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
Well, I'm afraid of that, Bill. That
Yeah, I
doesn't.
am too. I agree with you.
But I'm not
I'm in
afraid.
an older group, I'm in a high-risk group.
That's right. I
Well,
know.
it's interesting. I was at Lake Shasbury because I had my little ones with me, and somebody was doing a full immersion, a baptism.
Mhm.
So that was interesting. But I was talking to the grandma quite closely, and they had come from Florida because he was a minister. And I was thinking, I wasn't taking any precautions because, you're outside, but we were quite close together, and they were from Florida. And the parking lot was full of people.
Kathy.
Yeah.
Kathy.
Yes.
Naughty.
It was only later I thought, wow, we were quite animated. She was probably desperate to talk to somebody. And then I realized they're from Florida. And there are many, like we've said before, many of the cars in the lot at Shasbury, I've never noticed this before because it's not usual. Many of them from out of state. So that whole family had, parts of them were from Florida.
That is a problem. That would scare me some.
Yeah,
whether
I didn't
indoor.
think about it till
Most
a while
outdoors,
later.
most outdoor things, thinking of golf, don't bother me as much as any of the indoor things. Now, they do say that you still can get it. The droplets do, travel and on. But ultraviolet rays and everything with the outdoor are much, much less
Right.
than the indoor. But I wouldn't, especially with Florida right now, I would. I don't want to get too close to them. I don't mind talking to them if they're 8 feet away, but I wouldn't want to get too animated with them. From our point of view, doing things, whether it's the cleanup, which is a offering, or whether it is a money raiser like a golf thing, I don't think is a problem. And I think by next spring, people will be less, I think, I don't know, but I think it'll be less of a problem.
Well, I get going, but
Okay,
the kind of next steps for this, I feel like it'd be good to have for people who are interested, specifically in fundraising for the club for this club year. It'd be good to get a meeting,
I agree.
talk
Just for
about that, like, not during the normal meeting.
Okay,
Um,
I agree. I agree.
And
Jim,
the welcome wagon thing was very interesting.
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Yeah, we
I
had
think-
something like that in Bennington. How long have I been here? 40 years ago.
The chamber did it. I remember somebody came
Yes,
to my house.
I think the chamber did it, didn't it, Bill?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I know that when we moved here in August of 1980, the welcome wagon lady came to the house.
Yeah, and I had one come to the house too.
You're prestigious, that's why, Bill.
Not likely.
Well, we weren't, and she still came to our house.
That's right. Well, I did make notes on that, and I am going to call the chamber and ask if they do something like that, have a bag or do something, and we should think about that because I think it's I'm thinking of just a couple of people that have just recently bought homes on Monument Avenue that I have met. It would be very nice
I have 2 new neighbors.
Yeah. Well, you have a big
Oh.
neighbor that just bought the Mench's old house,
Yep.
and which is a great location. Beautiful
Well,
house.
we were kidding about bringing them a cake. Remember when you were talking about somebody who was very wealthy moving in, and maybe they could buy Southern Vermont so we could run them over a cake,
Yeah.
a welcome cake.
Welcome cake.
They're trying to,
Okay. Well, if I don't know, Jim, maybe you could send an email out and get people to, self-identify if they want to be part of this fundraising group, and then we can figure out a time to chat
Yep, I
Yes.
can put that out. I'll put that out later today.
in the next couple weeks.
One issue we have to deal with is we're a club essentially of maybe at best 15 active members.
Yeah.
And manpower,
You're right.
horsepower, people power is always an issue when you're doing something like do the hole in one and we have more than one tee. That's quite a few people. You've got to have people down at the green, more than one, and it's really interesting.
I agree with you, Bill. That's why I said from the beginning, I got to have volunteers if we're going to even play
Yep.
that game.
Yeah.
So,
Might be wanting to think very small.
The last time we asked a club about, specifically the hole in one, there was very little interest in doing. That's one reason why I mentioned before that we something to bring up at a fundraising meeting. But how can we kind of reimagine that concept and do it differently so people within the club are a little more excited to do it, but we still have opportunity to make money. So.
Well, I don't know how many golfers we have in the club. Golf's not a growing sport,
It's
right?
not yeah.
The
All
memberships.
right. I really got to go now, but have a good week, guys.
okay.
All right.
Keep it.
John, I'd throw out this as far as the hole in one. I think it would be exciting if you could do it on a regulation golf course where you had, 3 or 4 par threes and actually have the hole in one at the par threes.
Like on a Saturday afternoon for the regular golfers who are out there, throw in something at that point. Is that what you mean?
No, but actually if we could get to use the course for
Yeah.
a period of time, to me, it'd be more exciting than hitting balls off a high point at a park.
I think that's a good idea.
Same thing.
I like that.
I don't know if I'd want to put a hole in one on, I think the 4th hole in Mount Anthony, which is only like 120 yards. But they have an elevated tee on, 14 or 15? I haven't played golf.
13.
It's 14.
I'm trying to remember
Yeah.
all the holes. But, we've also got, you had a long par 3. So anyway, that's just a thought for what it's
Yeah,
worth.
it's a good thought. I like that.
It
I
creates
don't know.
issues, you know.
I don't know how David at the golf course would,
Well, that's a good question, and that's the question.
how he would view that. But it certainly would. I think it would be attractive, certainly to golfers.
Yeah.
Golfers would love to be shooting at,
You're talking spring, aren't you?
Yeah,
I would say that would probably
I
be
guess
the
I'm
best.
just talking concept right now, Kathy, not just, but I am talking more spring, but still, it's whether that's a good idea. The problem is if you only take one thing, Bill, at least with the putting, you're taking the whole course because you're doing it, you're shotgunning the whole course. When you do
Yeah,
it,
that's an interesting concept. I was thinking of using the putting green, you know. Another thought about putting, just for ha-has, we got a miniature golf course in town.
Yes.
yeah,
Maybe having a miniature golf course tournament, which makes it more accessible to anybody that can hold a golf club, might be a way to, I don't know what you'd have to score, 24 or something on 18 holes to win, but, it might be interesting too. It might be fun. It might bring in more people,
The library had that huge successful putting in the library. I mean, that was a huge 2-day event. That
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. People raved about that as a fundraiser.
and it made money.
Yeah, I've actually heard about using a putting green, the game thing before, and it is sitting up there.
That's what I was thinking of was because, I was,
Pitch and putt. It's called, it's pitch and putt or something like that, isn't it?
I was a promoter of that, where they, and the way they did that is they made each one of the sponsors make up something they wanted as the look of the hole.
Yeah.
And I was one of the sponsors, and we made a picture of the mill, and you putted into the mill.
Yeah, I mean, that was an event planner too, did that. But I mean, I think that we do have a pitch and putt sitting right up there on Harwood Avenue, Howard Hill. That is for sale, I believe.
Been for sale and bought many times at this stage.
That might be fun.
They don't quite have the clientele. All right, well, let's do that. And I may email you some. I'm gonna look into this, first of all, the bags, because I think that would be something we should hand out. And I'm gonna see if I can't figure a way to make up these bags. I'm gonna start with the chamber, but and we get some kind of a stamp on them for the Rotary, and make up a small bag, get a little bit of, you don't have to get big donations, just people to put something into the bag and to promote their place. And, whether it's a gift shop or whether it's a restaurant, to give something to get them to go to Madison's or anything. I think they'd all do that. I think even with this bad environment, I think that we could get that, and it would be very good for us to get people to join our club.
Well, I got a free oil change from Len Nichols when I came up. I've been doing business with that garage for 40 years. Okay, so I mean, it worked for him.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thinking about other than jelly, like an oil change, a car wash. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and Greens they gave me, I can't remember what they gave me, but it was a certificate, $25 certificate for oil. And I use all Greens from,
yeah.
I mean, and so.
Patterns are
it's a good investment for local business.
Yeah.
All right, I got to scoot.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
I will do that. I'll report back next meeting. Okay.
All right. We'll see everybody.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good week. Bye-bye.